welcome to the Joe Show. I am Joe, your host, and I am so glad you are here. I want to thank you guys so much for your love and support and for listening to the Joe Show. If you like the Joe Show, why don't you spread the word about how much you love the Joe Show? That doesn't do anything but make us bigger and better. So make sure you subscribe and like us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you catch the show. And as always, don't be afraid to comment. Make sure you go to Gateway Pro Productions on Facebook, Instagram at _Joe Show 20. That's also where you can find us on TikTok. Guys, before we get started with the show, I wanted to let you know that we are in a error, or not error like a mistake, or era. I got to make sure that I pronunciate, and do all that stuff that I'm supposed to do because I'm on a podcast and I have to really make sure I get my words out. See, I'm getting off track here with my ADHD. That's why I got to listen to everything, breaking the fourth wall and stuff. But we are not going to be able to do the love of music anymore until I figure something out. The reason why we won't be able to do the love of music is because we had Anchor. When we first started the podcast, we had this program that we used to do to get the podcast on air. It's called Anchor, right? We've done ads and stuff for it if you're a long-time listener. And recently they switched to Anchor, Spotify for podcasters, right? That's what they switched to. And so when they switched, that allowed me to use music from Spotify, right? And I can use it all willy-nilly since we went through Anchor and Spotify was the parent company, right? Well, things kind of changed. They kind of switched over again, right? And so now that is not allowing us to use music as freely as we want to. And I recently got an email from the new parent company. They were like, hey, you've got a couple of episodes here that are using music. Did you have a license for it? And I was like, no, I didn't have no license for it because Spotify, we was going through Spotify and everything. So they were like, take these episodes down or we're going to contact the right people. And I was like, okay, so we take them down. So we had a lot of episodes that had to get taken down. So until further notice, we're not going to be able to do For the Love of Music, which I'm sad about because that was something that I was really into. I really got a lot of enjoyment out of it. And I felt like we were getting to a point where I was starting to get my footing for it, right? Where I was like, okay, this is how the show's going to go. This is what we're going to do. I got weeks. Like, this was funny. I actually planned for like 8 weeks of For the Love of Music, right? And I had all the songs ready that I was going to play. We had a country version, a rock version, pop songs, funk, instrumental. We had a whole bunch of stuff, but now y'all ain't going to be able to hear any of that. So blame all the parent companies or whatever. But I just want to give you guys a heads up on that. I don't know when this episode's coming out. If the schedule is correct, it's going to be 2 or 3 weeks after the eclipse. But the eclipse happened. Man, it's crazy that we had this eclipse that happened, man. I'm already a geek, so I was already geeking out about it. I was like, yeah, this is going to be so amazing and stuff like that. But the eclipse happened, and I don't know about y'all, but it was a crazy day for the eclipse. I started working at this new job over at a hotel, right? And the tech for the eclipse was just going haywire. I don't know. That's what I was blaming it on, right? So usually I work at a slow computer. And it takes the computer, maybe 5 minutes to get running, to get all my programs running that I need to, check people in and out and stuff and for them to buy products and stuff. So it takes about 5 minutes. I'm used to that. I usually get in there, put all my passwords in, go clock in, come back. It's up and running by the time I get back. Well, this computer on that day of the eclipse, it took 45 minutes to get going. I was sitting there checking people in like I was a hotel person, or I don't know what my position's called, but I was sitting there like I was back in the 1930s writing stuff down. Okay, what's your room number? Okay. That's your room number. Okay, what's the name on the account? Okay. Gotta write all that down. Oh, you want checked in? Okay. Like, it was crazy. I was doing just all that stuff the old-fashioned way, right? My phone was going a little haywire, too. It was, like, not responding. You know, it wasn't as like you would click something and they would wait like a couple of seconds and then it would do something. It got to a point that it was lagging so much, I had to turn the thing off, right? And turn it back on. I had to do that a couple of times that day. But it was just crazy how all the tech and stuff was just going haywire of the day of the eclipse. That's what I kept blaming it on. I'm like, yeah, hey, that eclipse coming. That's why everything acting all crazy and everything. We just got this new program for our restaurant that we have. You can do like it's like basically how like a kiosk, but we have like an iPad or whatever. And so they got this new program. The program was shut down, right? And nobody knows why it was acting funny. And I'm blaming it on the eclipse. But the whole system went down. Nobody knew anything. You got the IT guys. They were just like, okay, you don't need me. You need Johnson. He's in this part of the business, and they were like, no, you need Henry. So they kept going down. But the eclipse, I think, was just really messing up just a bunch of tech stuff. At least that's what I'm blaming it on. I don't know if that was the reason, but that's what I'm blaming it on. With the eclipse, Terre Haute went crazy. One of the things Terre Haute really loves is it loves its festivals, right? And I didn't know how big this thing was, right? I think the first time we saw anything about the eclipse was Pride of last year. So it was June, and we were just going through Pride, looking at all the displays and exhibits there, and they were like 2024 eclipse, and I was like, just an eclipse. What the hell are we so excited for? I didn't know it was gonna be that big. And a lot of people were kind of like me, right? They were like, oh, it's not gonna be that big. It's not exciting. But as it got close, people really started getting really, really excited about it, right? But where was I going with that? This is why I got freaking notes here, because I just be going off on tangents and stuff like that. But it's a huge thing. It was a huge thing. They had streets and stuff blocked off. Like, I didn't know the streets were blocked off until about 3 weeks before the eclipse happened, because I got a phone call and somebody was like, hey, I was looking online and we're supposed to be coming there when the eclipse is happening, and I was just wondering, how do I get to your hotel? And I was like, how the heck, what do you mean, how do you get to my hotel? Like, can't you look it up on GPS? Like, go to Safari or Chrome or something and look it up? She's like, yes, but I see you have a lot of road closures. And I'm like, lady, I don't know nothing about no road closures. What are you talking about? And she said, well, your hotel's going to be closed on this street and this street. And those were our two main streets that people get into the hotel for. And so I'm talking to my boss, and my boss is like, I don't know what the heck they talking about. You know what they talking about? I don't know what they talking about. You know what they talking about? I don't know what they talking about. And so we had to look it up, and we found out that the roads were going to be closed, which is kind of crazy because my GM, my manager, they go to the council meetings for the city of Terre Haute. So that means the mayor and all the officials knew they was closing down the roads, and they didn't tell nobody about it. They just have Mr. Mayor. Should we tell the businesses around that we're going to be shutting off the roads and everything? No, we will let them find out themselves. Because that's how we found out. We found out through a phone call from somebody coming in. But it's a huge thing that we had. They had all these streets blocked off. Terre Haute, I always would, all the festivals and things we've been to, I'm always bitching about how, like, this ain't like Springfield. Springfield, they had tons of food trucks and stuff like that. They always got food trucks. Like, food trucks is like the lifeblood of Springfield. I would always talk about that, right? And at this event, they had a bunch of food trucks. I mean, literally at 11, no, what was it? They started setting up at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, I'm at the hotel. I ain't even had a sip of my coffee yet or my energy drink, right? And I start hearing this music. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And some old man's like, they already getting started. The live music and everything. They started at 8 o'clock in the morning. But it was a huge festival. There's this place called Sadi Bobby's. They have it's basically marinated pork on a stick, right? And people live and die by this here in Terre Haute, right? And the guy was like, "Hey, can I use some of your water? And y'all get free drinks and free food all day." And we did. It was delicious. This is the first time I ever had Sided Bobby's. It was delicious. It was a huge festival downtown, and Terre Haute loves its festivals, right? I don't care what you say about how meth up this, not messed up, meth, okay? meth, meth up. I'm not. I sound like Mike Tyson trying to say messed up. Listen, I don't care how messed up. Don't come after me. Terre Haute is. They do love their festivals, and people don't get crazy when they have festivals and things like that. It's just nice and chill place. Terre Haute is. They have a Pride Festival. We went to the Balloon Festival. We went to the Eclipse Festival. It was just nice and chill there. Like nobody tweaking. Always felt comfortable. We even went to a diversity festival, and that was really nice and chill. It was just a great time. So Terre Haute really loves their festival. Um, Now, on the day of the eclipse, not only was the technology acting all goofy and stuff, but the people were too, right? So they had made like these 2024 eclipse shirt, and they look real badass, right? And you can get some from the Children's Museum. You can get them from the hotel. I think the oh, I can't remember it. The There's some type of place, the Commerce Place. What's that place called? Okay, I forget it. I'm live and I can't remember stuff. But Chamber of Commerce, yes, Chamber of Commerce. They made shirts and stuff, and they wanted these shirts. Like people were coming from California, Alaska, Hawaii. Like I'm looking at all these places. They're from London and overseas. They're coming all the way over here to little Terre Haute to see this thing, and people are asking me, "Hey man, where'd you get that shirt?" Well, I said, listen, I work here. And I walked in, they said, here's a shirt, wear the shirt. And I said, okay. And people wanted my shirt. It got so bad that there was a dude who wanted to buy it off my back. That's how crazy it was. Like, this man was like, man, listen, I've been to the Children's Museum. I've been to a bunch of booths. I cannot find that shirt. I will literally buy that shirt off you. And I'm like, nah, man, I can't get this shirt. I got to wear this shirt for work, right? There was even some people who wanted to go onto the roof of the hotel, right? They were like, listen. There ain't no good spots out here on the street. I want to know if I can get on the roof with my telescope and watch the eclipse there. And I'm like, no. Like, I'm not, even if I was stupid, I wouldn't let you on there. Do you know the insurance that we would have to have in order to have them people on the roof? What would happen if you was looking through your telescope and you was walking and didn't know that the ledge was there and you fall off, you break your back, now you suing the hotel and you suing me because I gave you permission? Nah. Now, think with your brain. And all these people had dogs too. Like, we're a pet friendly hotel, but at the same time, man, they just had their dogs there. I'm really not a dogs person. You know, they had big dogs, small dogs, okay, but you got a greyhound dog in here, walking through here, barking. There was one dog barking at some little kid. I almost had to drop kick it through the goddamn window, but I didn't because you gotta be professional at this job. You know, I can't be truck driver Joe at this job. I gotta be professional Joe there. But it was crazy. The whole damn town shut down. Like I was at work and one of my boys from Pepsi came up and he's talking to me. He was like, "Yeah, man, Pepsi closing down." I was like, "Pepsi's closing down?" It's like, why? It's like all the traffic that's coming through. Because not only did we have the eclipse that happened, we also had the casino open up. We have a new casino that opened up. So not only were people in town for the eclipse, we had people here for the casino. So we were just packed with traffic, man. It was crazy. It was a crazy time. Driving wasn't too bad. Like I live on the outskirts of town, so driving wasn't that bad. Once you got into town, it wasn't even that crazy either. It was just a very nice time. It was a very nice time. And then just watching the eclipse, right? It's just beautiful, right? It's something that you won't be able to see for a very long time. I think somebody was talking about the next total eclipse, like maybe in our area is like 200 years or something like that. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But it was just a great time to be alive to see something like that, right? I feel like for the people in my generation, we have been through a lot of crap, right? And this was just, or not a lot of crap, but just a lot of big events. You know, we've been through a lot of big events. And to have an event like this be big, but it be good and awesome and really don't hurt nobody, it was nice to sit there and witness that. Right? I've never seen a total eclipse before. Most people have never seen a total eclipse before. But when people were talking about it was going to go dark, I was like, psh, yeah, right. Yeah, right. No, it was dark, okay? like, we saw stars out. Like, it was literally a mind fuck, right? Because you knew that it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right? But you saw stars out. It was just crazy, and to just see the blackness of the moon, and then the ring of the sun behind it, and also too, it gave you a realization of how powerful the sun is, right? Because when the moon started to cover the sun, it was still light out. The moon was halfway over the sun. It was still light out. It wasn't until there was this little sliver of sun it started getting dark. And then the moon completely over it, right? And then I'm looking up at my glasses as the moon is starting to pass over the sun. You see just a little slither, like a splinter size crack that the sun is coming by from behind the moon, and it starts to light up again. I'm like, man, the sun is so powerful. It is 93 billion miles away, but it's just so bright, right? Like, it's just crazy. I was geeking out over the whole thing. And watching this eclipse and watching this once in a lifetime thing really made me just recognize or realize that, you know, we have special moments in our lives, you know, and I wanted to catch this eclipse on camera, right? I really did. But something was just like, hey, you know, you can catch this on camera. I mean, you could barely see it. My phone camera's not that good. You can barely see it through the camera. So why are you going to waste this moment trying to catch it on your phone? We could sit here and just look at it with your eyes. And I was really taking it in, because that's a moment that I probably will never, ever experience ever again. And it was just a great experience. It's one of those times where I'll come on this show and I always talk about how we as people always need to come together and just be chill and just live with one another. And that was one of those moments. Like, all of us were just there, observing nature and just living in the moment and experiencing this. It's just really, really great. It's really, really great. It was one of those times where I call it the Thanos relaxation, where you just kind of just like, yeah, I'm just going to relax and look at everything and just really take it in, you know. That's what happened. I was even telling my manager about that. I said, man, this is one of the moments that we got to really just experience, right? Because we're not going to get this moment back, you know. We just kind of need to relax and experience it. And he was like, you know what, I got so much going on in my life, I really can't relax. He was like, I'll probably relax when I'm dead. I'm like, see, that's the problem. People like you are the problem. But hey, like I said, it was a really, really great experience, and I am glad I was there to witness it. Hell, I'm glad I was here to witness it while I was in Terre Haute. And that's saying something, okay? That is really saying something. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back, and we're going to start doing some confessions. So stay right there. We'll be right back after this. go to a priest. But not these people. Instead of telling someone close to them or taking it to the grave, they go on to Reddit, right? And see, that's where I come in, right? I read these posts and I see the good, the bad, and the ugly of these people's confessions. So let's get right into it with our first confession, right? So here we go. I sold vitamin C to kids at my school as ecstasy. Okay, here we go. All right, y'all ready? Um, so I plan to convince, well, let's see. Yeah. I plan to convince other drunk students that a bottle of vitamin C tablets I had found in the bathroom at a high school party was ecstasy. I can't even say that word. And I would sell it to them for $20 a pill. In the end, I made off with roughly $200. I think my dad would have been proud. Okay. So, is it okay? Let me go back and read it. It said it's a bottle of vitamin C tablets. Okay, so if you found out was the vitamin C tablets right in a bottle that said vitamin C tablets, okay, and then were you smart enough to take them out of the vitamin C tablet container and put it in another one, okay, before you take it to school? Or was these kids just so drunk that you literally had the vitamin C tablet thing with the cover and everything that said vitamin C with the oranges and stuff on it, and you took it to school and they just took it? That's my first question. Second of all, I didn't know that high school kids was so yearning, like they wanted drugs so much that they would just go to some random kid who probably never sold drugs before. That's that's another thing. Like, how would you go get drugs from Billy who ain't never sold drugs before? Because this sounds like it's his first time. So why would you do that? I don't know. High school kids are dumb. And then they was paying $20 a pop for them, right? I mean, he must have did all that in a day. He probably could not have done that, like, over time, right? Because can you imagine you, that kid, thinking you about to get high off some ecstasy? You take that pill and nothing happened, except for your immune system gets strong. And then what do? You go back to him? No, you don't go back to him. No, he probably sold all that in a day. Half these confessions and stuff like that, when I read the confessions, I don't know why I always get like a sense of bullshit, right? Like, they ain't telling the truth sometimes. I don't know. That's just what I get from coming from confessions. I don't know. But let's read what some of the comments says. Somebody said, I misread this as I sold vitamin C at my kid's school as ecstasy, and pictured a grown adult going to a middle school to sell fake drugs. Hey, little Billy, you want some candy? Hey, little Billy, you want some ecstasy? There's a bunch of people that read it that way. Somebody said, what else are parents supposed to do when their kids eat no fruit and vegetables? Yep, that's what you do. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Are your kids not wanting to eat their vegetables or fruits? This is what you should do. Get vitamin C pills and treat them as ecstasy. Your kids will love and always will want to try ecstasy. Let's see. See, I got these comments here. Somebody said it's certainly a business model. Someone else says, "Hey, hey, would we all think Tom Cruise and his movie Whiskey Business?" Oh, somebody said, I hate it because I'm doing video too. Hey, would we all think Tom? I think they meant to say where. Hey, where do you think Tom Cruise and his movie Whiskey Business came from? And somebody said a definite business model. I need to edit some of this stuff because I just copied and paste, right? Somebody said I clearly missed a trick. I just sold regular ecstasy as ecstasy. No, I'm not even gonna try to sell him anything. I'm just gonna get ecstasy and I'm gonna sell him ecstasy. Somebody said if I had ecstasy, I use it myself. I ain't no businessman. This is confessions. People, everybody just telling their confessions. You know, like, hey, I wouldn't sell ecstasy. I wouldn't sell vitamin C pills. I just make sure it was ecstasy. And if I had the ecstasy, let me tell you something. Ecstasy. Let me tell you something. I wouldn't even sell it. I probably use it all because I'm not a businessman. And the original poster said, I mean, I did. I did a fair amount of that as well, but my body has its limits. Okay, so what do you guys think about that one? That confessions. Make sure you go to Gateway Pro Productions on Facebook, Instagram at _Joe Show 20. That's also where you can find us on TikTok. Our next one is I was being a weeb, and broke my friend's nose. Okay. So when I was like 11 or something, I was into Naruto. There were a lot of people that were into Naruto. And stuff I thought, and I thought it would be pretty fucking sweet to put some Naruto music on and chase my friend around the house with some shitty foam scythe thing. He was hiding in the closet, and I could see his legs sticking out from underneath a rack of clothes. And because I wanted to scare him or something, I pretended I didn't know where he was. Some background info. I had this like foam scythe thingy I got from a Halloween costume a couple of years prior. It was pretty soft, but the interior had this like hard PVC pipe in it. Yes, I kind of know what you're talking about. I then proceeded to yell some cringe shit and throw the scythe in a perfect spiral like Peyton Manning. It hit him, and I heard him start crying, and he comes out with blood dripping down his face and into his hands. What followed was the worst thing I had ever experienced in my life and will probably ever will. Wait, the worst thing you ever experienced? Okay. My mom came down the hallway and saw him bleeding all over the bathroom sink and asked me what happened. We both agreed never to tell the truth, and we told her he ran into a door. I still have not told anyone about this in years and have lost contact with that friend. P.S. I don't watch anime anymore because every time I do, I get secondhand embarrassment thinking about what I did. Edit. Also, I also never turn on the music. Oh, I also never turned the music off, so my mom walked into two 11-year-old boys huddling over the sink, one bleeding profusely out of his nose while while some dramatic music was playing. Okay. So, did you guys ever like so I'm a person that was into movies and things like that, and I know people around my age were really into Naruto and stuff like that, to the point they would run like Naruto when they would put the hands in the back and they would run and they would jump like the Power Rangers and stuff. Like, one of the things I was really into like movies, right? And Rush Hour was one of my favorite movies. And so one of the things I think was Rush Hour 2. In Rush Hour 2, Chris Tucker jumps off a couch and karate kicks us. He does like a flying kick into somebody and then knocks him over. So that scene in the movie was coming on, and so my sister was in the way, and so I jumped into the flying kick, kicked her right in the stomach, right? I was grounded and couldn't watch TV for like 3 months. But I understand where this dude's coming from, right? Did you ever do anything like that? Make sure you write in the comments. I want to hear what you did, or things that you might have witnessed, okay? I'm not saying you did it, but just things you might have witnessed, okay? Let's see what some of the people in the comments say. When I was a kid, when I was 6, this kid punched me in the face because he thought he was Naruto, and I shoved him to the ground, and it got Naruto banned at my school. Listen, it seems like Naruto is really contributing to a lot of school violence. Okay, that's what it looks like is happening here. Next one says, I'm sorry, but this is hilarious. Such is the life of a young anime viewer. When I was young, I was really into doing cartwheels all over my house. I had a friend over. She was following me through the foyer and up the stairs to go to my room, and I decided to pop a quick cartwheel. I kicked her right in the face, and I'll never forget the horrified look she had and how I ran to help her. She screamed, "Get away from me!" I still cringe. I'm realizing how lucky I was to want to be a weapon from Soul Eater. That's how lucky I was to want to be a weapon from Soul Eater. There was no way to act out the fantasy. Last one. Someone says 6-year-old me, after discovering Kung Fu Panda for the first time, I wanted to be a ninja. So let me know about some of your confessions. Did you ever watch some TV show that just inspired you to be something you weren't, or tried to, like Dragon Ball Z? You know, I remember all the kids doing the hobby hobby ha back in the day, right? Naruto, Power Rangers. What TV show inspired you? All right. So we have that one. What was the other one? We have the person giving ecstasy to kids in high school. I want to know how they relate to you, right? Do they relate to you? If they don't, that's fine. If they do, that's great. Let's go and take another break because we're coming back. We're coming back from the past into the future with Am I the Asshole? So stay right there. We're going to be right back after this.
Got the funny feeling and the look on your face. You've been addressed and put back in your place. Making up shit and confusing me with you. About time you get told just what to do. Am I the asshole in here? Did I hurt your feelings? Oh dear, you didn't seem to mind it from you. Well, let me just remind you who's who.
Another episode of Am I the Asshole? There's really not an intro for this one, but hey, you know, this is what we do. We come on here and we read Reddit posts about Am I the Asshole here, right? So, this one that we have here, a lot of the ones that we have today are dealing with in-laws and things like that. So, let's see what they get. Oh, okay, let's see what happens in here. Am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law that her family can't stay at my beach house anymore, even though they helped build it? Oh, that's a burp. Man, that's the one bad thing about video. You know, just when stuff happened, it just happened, you know, and I'm not about to edit this out. You know, especially if it's good, right? If it's good, it's good. So I'm 31, and my husband is 38. We live about 3 hours away from my sister-in-law, and she has her family. It's her husband, and 2 kids. A few years ago, my husband and I bought a really rundown property on the coast, a couple of hours from where we live. I wanted to make a project of fixing it up. My husband liked the idea, and I was happy and was happy to support it. But it was mostly my project. I really put a lot of effort into fixing it up as cheaply as possible. Went over and stayed there for many nights and literally did a lot of construction. My husband came and helped out, but it was only about half the time. I used mostly recycled wood, and so most of the materials I used were found. Once it was partly finished, I thought I could enlist my sister-in-law's help. So I told her about the project and asked if she wanted to come stay over for a few days with my family and help finish up the work. She brought her kids and husband and slept out on the deck and did things like painting and building some furniture, etc. When it was finished, it was really beautiful. We started renting it out on Airbnb and have had good success with that so far. I did say that my sister-in-law's family could come stay anytime because they helped with it. There are 2 parts of the house that have separate kitchen and bathrooms, so we've kept the top for us and sister-in-law. So we kept the top for us and the sister-in-law's family, and the bottom for Airbnb. Last week they were there at the same time some paid guests were. I got a complaint from the guests afterwards that my sister-in-law's kids had made fun of their kids, and that my sister-in-law told them that this was their house, so the guests don't get to dictate how their kids behave. I asked my sister-in-law about this, and she said that their kids wanted to play with the guest kids on the beach. And the guest kids tried to ask her kids to leave them alone, but they wouldn't. They were playing volleyball, and her kids were much better and rightfully proud of it. I got pissed and told her she wasn't allowed to stay there anymore if she can't be considerate of the fact that this is also a business and you can't be an ass to customers or anyone. Now she says I'm an asshole because I promised she could stay there any time. So am I the asshole? What do you guys think? Is she the asshole? Let's see what some of the people in the comments have to say about this. I said that my sister-in-law could come stay anytime because they helped with it. That's what somebody copied and pasted, and somebody said a deal is a deal. Someone said it's a deal is a deal until I got a complaint from the guests afterwards that my sister-in-law kids had made fun of their kids, and that my sister-in-law told them that this was their house, so the guests don't get to dictate how their kids behave. So the person is saying that a deal is a deal until the second part of that comment there. This entitlement mentally breaks the deal. Your sister-in-law behaved badly, and now your Airbnb could possibly get a bad review involving the house owner kids interfering with their vacation. Who's going to want to stay in a place like that? You are not the asshole. Your sister-in-law took liberties that any normal person would know is a step too far. Somebody said, honestly, I was ready to be on the original poster's sister-in-law's side until I read the abhorrent. I read how abhorrent the I think that's the right word, the sister-in-law's behavior is. Who the fuck defends bullying like this? Laugh my ass off. Somebody said, who the fuck defends bullying like this? Laugh my ass off. Entitled parents who think that their precious little angels can do nothing wrong, and believe with every fiber of their misguided belief that they now own a part of the vacation home because some furniture was put together and some paint was splashed around. Somebody says, make hard boundaries and stick to them, or just cut them off, or cut off the usage. A bully. Somebody said, a bully. Your sister-in-law is a bully herself. Let's see. Let's see. How is a kid supposed to know he or she is doing something wrong, or something that displeases the parental figure if you don't tell them? Know when it is a no situation. And last one. Oh, good Lord. I remember a thread somewhere I saw where someone was saying about a family member who took a parenting class, and the person teaching the parents apparently said something like, you should never tell your kids no because it stunts them emotionally, or something like that. What the fuck? So what do you guys think about this? Is this lady, it's our original poster, the asshole for not letting her sister-in-law stay in this house that she helped build, even when her kids were being a-holes? Is this person the asshole? I don't think so, because you don't own the property. If it was our original poster or her husband, and they said something, it's their property, they bought it. I mean, they would still be assholes, but it's theirs, right? It's only partly yours. I mean, it's like it's an offer. You know, you're extended an offer, right? Because you helped out. They only probably did that because they felt bad. That's the only reason they did it. There's like, I don't want to pay them no money, but I'm gonna let them stay in the house, okay? That's what I'm gonna do. So that's the only reason why. But you can't act like a dick, okay? Let's do this next one here. What are we at on time? Oh, yes. Okay, let's see if we can knock this out real quick. Am I the asshole for now? Let's not do that. Okay, let's not do the asshole anymore, because I really want to get to this next part here. Okay. We got about 15 minutes left, so let's do words. Okay, on the podcast we've talked about words a lot, right? We've talked about the uses of words, what they mean, and things like that. And there's a couple of things that really have been, boggling around in my head when it comes to words. Like, before we do this, parental discretion advised. Some of these words that we are going to be saying are going to be bad words. And if you don't want your kids saying the bad words, turn off the podcast or listen to it later. 3, 2, 1, here we go. But some of these words, like, you've got the word fuck, gay, and pussy. These are the 3 words that I really have a problem with, right? Just because the way people use them, like people, like, they say fuck you. Like, listen, fuck, the definition, fuck is an English language profanity which often refers to the act of sexual intercourse, but is commonly used as a intensifier or to convey disdain, right? Okay, but the main reason we say fuck is for sexual intercourse. So when you say fuck you to somebody, you're saying I want to have sex with you. Now I know you don't mean it that way, but in the literal context of it, that what it mean, right? That what it mean. And so, like, it's just like I just laugh when some people. And what really got me on this was when I was working for Pepsi. I had a guy I was working with. And he just kind of annoyed the heck out of me. He's legitimately, he was an all right dude, right? It's just our vibes didn't mix. Okay, our vibes didn't mix, and that's just really boiled up, Okay, not going to that. But when our vibes don't mix, and you kind of irritate me, I just kind of watch things that you say and watch how you do stuff, like, And one of the things that would really get me is his wordage, right? He would say fuck in the bad, like he said, oh, fuck this or fuck off or this. And I'm like, dude, why are you using that word? People use that to read the legitimate, like, meaning of that word is like to have sex, man. Why are you using fucking that way? Or he would say something like, oh, that's gay. That's gay. And, gay is a term that primarily refers to homosexuality. We know that. Or it means like carefree, free, cheerful, bright, or showy. But nowadays it's really referring to something that's homosexual. And I was like, man, why are you saying that's gay? Well, it's gay, it's a bad thing, it's not tough. It's a sissy truck, type of a deal. Or he would use the word pussy, he'd be like, that's a pussy truck. It's a weak truck. And I was like, listen, man, I sat there and I asked him, I said, are you a straight man? He said, yes. And I said, okay, if you're a straight man, then I got a question to ask you. He said, what? I said, would you take a dick up the ass? He looked at me and said, no. And I said, so that means that being gay, that makes that gay man stronger than you are. Even though he might act like a sissy, or you might think he act like a sissy, or he do things that you might consider being a sissy, he's still stronger than you are. And it's like, well, I guess so. Why do you use that word in that way right then? Like, one, that's very offensive. And the way that a lot of people use stuff, it's very offensive. And people, I don't care what you say, you'd be like, oh, I didn't mean it that way. Well, people say the N-word and they might not mean it one way. They might not mean it in the bad way, but, it's still that word, right? And the same thing with pussy. Like, vagina, pussy refers to a vagina mostly. And I'll tell you what, people be like, they're always like, pussies are weak. I'm like, well, listen, I don't know about you, but I don't know nothing else out there that can push out a baby that's the size of a grapefruit or a bowling ball or something like that, and then go back to the way it was, or what can take a pounding like once a week or so, and then go back to normal. And I think they're pretty strong. They're attached to pretty strong creatures too. So I just don't know. I just think that we as people really need to look at our words, because you sound like a dumb person, right? You look at a truck and you call it a pussy, or you call it gay, and you're trying to say that it's weak, when you literally look at those words. Like you said, you look at pussy. It refers to a vagina, man. Literally one of the strongest things in the world. We're a gay man. Literally take a dick up their ass. Most straight men won't do that. So gay people, gay men are literally stronger than regular men. I know people might not agree with this. I'm mainly being funny with this. But I think we really need to look at how we are saying things, right? And the meaning behind them. Because if you don't know what you're saying, and you don't know the definition of what you're saying, or how people are interpreting it, you could be seen as a dumbass, right? And I'm not saying that the particular guy that I was talking to was seen as a dumbass. I was just really, if anything, I was really trying to help him. I'm like, hey man, don't use it in that context, because one, you're being offensive to anybody who's gay, and you're being offensive to anyone who's a woman. You know, I just don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just rambling. Maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe people should just be able to say whatever the hell they want to say and offend whoever they want to offend. I don't know. But just watch your words. Watch what you say. You know, I even had that happen to me, right? It's not about how you as a person interpret it. It's about how other people interpret it, right? It's like when I was I was just talking to a guy at work, and my manager gave me this key, right? And this key went to this group that was in our conference room. And he gave me this key and said, hey, make sure you give this key to those people so they can lock up the conference room later, because I'm not going to be here. And I said, okay, gotcha. And there was this nice looking young lady. She was the leader of this group. And one of the employees there, he was really trying to get like her number and trying to talk to her and stuff like that. And I was getting ready to leave, and I had this key. I said, I got to go get this key to Tasha. You know, give this key to her, you know, and make sure she gets it, you know. And he's like, what you mean? He's like, man, you trying to get on my girl? And I said, what are you talking about, dude? He's like, the way you talking about it's like you been trying to give her your apartment key. I said, nah, man, it's not like that. I said, I just got to get this key for the conference room. He said, oh, man. He's like, oh, okay, man, because the way you was talking, man, I thought you was trying to get up on her, you know, trying to get a number or stuff like that. When you've been seen, I've been trying to do this all day. And I was like, no, that's not what I was doing. And it was all about the way that I said it and the way that he interpreted it, right? I said something being so innocent, not thinking anything about it, and then he accidentally took it the wrong way. That's just because that's the way people's minds work and think, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. It's whatever. You know, it's whatever. I don't care. But, all right. I want to thank you guys so much for listening to the show. I love doing this. Make sure you guys go out on to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you catch the show, and like and subscribe. Make sure you're going out and telling more people about the show, because if you tell more people about the show, I can do bigger and better things. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how to make my life a little more exciting. There's a couple of opportunities that I've got coming out now, so that will help me, because not only do I want to bring you a lot of news stories and I want to tell jokes and stuff on here, I want to make sure it's personal and that I bring a little bit of my life into this, you know, with this my show, because it's called The Joke Show, right? I want to connect with y'all a little bit and let y'all know a little bit more about me. So go out. Go tell everybody about the show and tell them why you like the show, because this is going to help us become bigger and better. Make sure you also go and comment about any of the topics we talked about, whether it's Am I the Asshole, Confessions, or anything about the eclipse. What did you think about the eclipse, right? I thought it was a great, great scientific day. I loved it. I had a great time. I really like to hear your comments and things like that. So make sure you go and like and just subscribe to all that. And now I'm getting ready to leave you, but I want to leave you with a quote that I heard today. And it kind of ties into what I was talking about earlier, how we need to kind of just enjoy the moments that we're in, right? Right? And the quote is, life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away, right? Just like that eclipse, right? So I leave you with that. think about that. I thank you guys so much for listening, and I will be back next week with another episode of The Joe Show. Bye bye, everybody.